Azeem is a man who has been commenting on Ghana's fight against corruption for many years. He was with the Ghana Integrity Initiative, which is a local chapter of Transparency International. Let's speak his thoughts on this particular subject. Sir, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have a barometer for measuring the fight against corruption so that we can test who has done what since 1957? The president says he has done the most. Do you have a way of, assessing this comment by the president?
Well, maybe not his comments, but we have various indices for corruption. And the most popular one is the Corruption Perception Index, which shows overall people's perception about the countries that are most corrupt. And Ghana has always fallen below the 50% mark out of its clean score of 100. The most recent one, I think we scored 41 out of 100. And so if you are using that as a measure, you obviously say that he's touting about his successes will not measure up to the existing criteria for measuring corruption.
So
that is not the only barometer we use. We have other indicators. The Afrobarometer, the Global Corruption Barometer, all these, the African Governance Indicators, all these point to the opposite of what the president is saying. And in any case, the president has said it over and over several times. We are becoming tired of saying the same thing over and over without actually seeing action on the ground.
When you say action on the ground, he will quickly refer you to the fact that we have an Office of Special Prosecutor. It's a first since independence. He says he has resourced IOCO, he has resourced the Attorney General's Department, and that for him, that singular act is worthy of celebration in the fight against corruption. You do not agree?
When you say you have resourced, it's not just budgetary allocation. You need to go into the budget allocation and find out whether what he has given this year is more than what he gave last year, and whether what he has given this year has taken into consideration inflation and the falling exchange rate. You see, if you give me 100,000 this year, and last year you gave me 90,000, then I use 100,000 this year to buy what I could have used 90,000 to buy last year. So when you just throw figures into the air, I don't think there's any cause for us to be celebrating. And in any case, we've known about the case of the special prosecutor. It has been set up since 2018. How many staff does he have? Just recently we heard that he has now been allowed to recruit a number of staff, but they have not even reported yet. It's a passing laws are not giving them the backing, giving the institution the necessary resources to perform, giving them the necessary independence to perform. You shouldn't be boasting about that. As for the Right to Information Bill, we have been fighting for this since 2013. Ask him, why is the Public Officer Code of Conduct Bill still pending?
You mentioned the RTI. It's been at the corridors of Parliament for 20 years. It was finally passed under his government. Again, he should take the credit for that. So perhaps it's fair if he says that he's the one who has done the most in that sector. That is one critical aspect, finding information from government institutions.
The question to ask is, how many officers has the Right to Information Commission have? How many does he have in the country? How many regional offices? Not to talk about district offices. You see, it's not just passing a law, but giving it the teeth to bite. If you pass a law, first, the regulation that should back the law, do we have one? It's still being worked on. Then you go to the structures that you need to put in place for the institution to actually function. These are not there. So just like the Office of Special Prosecutor, the Right to Information Commission also has similar problems, similar logistical problems, staffing problems, teaching problems that we have not overcome. So as I said, it is an old story that the president keeps. This is not the first time he has appeared before the Ghana Bar Conference and has said the same thing over and over.
If the president were listening to you, what would you ask him to focus on in the fight against corruption?
To back his words with action. You just don't come and say, I've passed the law and I've referred to this, how many of his ministers, those seriously accused of corruption, has he even sacked, not talk about sanctioning them, bringing them for prosecution or that kind of thing, serious investigations.
His former Minister for Sanitation is currently facing investigations. That's good, isn't it?
When the minister resigned, what did the president say? That he sure should be exonerated. Coming from the president himself, even before any investigation, was he not preempting the outcome of those investigations? If tomorrow the investigation council has not been found guilty, will Ghanaians believe that investigation, no matter which institution is coming from? He should be the last come and say, oh, the investigations have found you to be not culpable. But he should not always be the first. And this is not the first time. The cash for steel saga, the Australian visa saga, all these things, the president is always first come out and exonerate his ministers, even preempting all investigations. So what is he talking about?
Moving forward, the judiciary is critical in the fight against corruption. The two leaders, current President Akufo-Addo, former President Mahama, have been arguing and debating over who is doing what at the judiciary. I don't know if you care to comment and what that would also mean to the fight over who is appointing who to go to the judiciary or to the bench.
You see, part of the problem is with our constitution. The constitution leaves it open for with regards to how many Supreme Court judges the president can appoint. And this president has appointed the largest number. Some are known friends, some are known party people. And then when you go to some of the judgments, especially with regards to the state, cases against the state or the government, from a layman's perspective, it's like most of the time it is ruled in favor of the government. I'll just give you 2 or 3 examples. When I go to court, when I to try to seek an injunction against an activity that is taking place tomorrow, and the judge sets the date for hearing that case in a week's time, is it not ruling in favor of that action, that the action can go ahead? So when you do such things, we ordinary people will see it as always ruling in favor of the government. And that is not a good perception for the judiciary, because the judiciary is the last place that every citizen can go to seek redress. And if people don't have that good perception about the judiciary, then our democracy is in danger. And I think that the politicians need to take time to avoid doing anything that will affect the perception of Ghanaians about the judiciary.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
You're welcome.
That's Vitus Azeem. He's an anti-corruption crusader. And let me just say that we have the full statement by the